Hey everybody, how's it going? I want to talk about why I feel there's an uprise in anger amongst young people today and why we are dealing with people who are disgruntled, angry, frustrated, mad, etc. and basically not happy, I think, is probably the best word to describe said people. And I'll just tell you, I was raised in an imperfect family. I was raised by a man, my biological father, who was an alcoholic. If he was here, he would sit here and tell you what I say is true, and that was my experience with him. He never claimed to be perfect. He apologized for his shortcomings. He knew he wasn't the perfect father, and that's all there was to it. And because of my dad, I was able to feel unashamed for not being perfect either, and I never claimed I was. I wasn't a perfect parent. I wasn't a perfect daughter. I wasn't a perfect sister. I'm an imperfect human being. But the one thing I never did was deny where I came from. I never denied my dad, despite the fact he probably said he probably deserved not to be my father for a time. But I never denied it. I always had a relationship with him. And I never also denied I had a mother. I have mom, dad, three sisters, a myriad of cousins, aunts, uncles, etc. And I think I can rest in that. But I think the people that struggle the most in this world are people that are denying their DNA, identity, upbringing, lineage, family tree, etc. And I know it's been stated that by my youngest daughter that I'm not alive, and they're telling falsehoods about me. And I know when you live a double life and you're walking around erasing certain things that happen, it's almost like walking around almost looking over your shoulder. When is the ball going to drop? When are my kids going to find out I have a mom that is alive? When is someone going to out me? It's got to be an awfully terrible burden to carry falsehoods, lies throughout your life. And to deny that you have a mom, to deny that you have a dad, to deny your family tree, when in fact it does exist. That's got to be an awful weight to carry. Because if I had raised my daughters and I had lied to them and told them that I didn't have sisters, that I didn't have a mom or dad or cousins or extended family, and just imagine walking around in around the same area you were raised, and you run into someone, it's your maybe first, second, or third cousin, someone you spent time with as a child, and you're with your children and they don't know you have extended family. And that person walks up to you and they say, "Hey, so and so, how's it going? Who are these people?" And your kids are like, "Who is that?" And this and that. And it's like True Lies, like Arnold Schwarzenegger when he had a double life. Can you imagine looking over your shoulder and how on edge you would be all the time? I don't get it. I don't, I can't, what a burden, unnecessary burden to carry, actually. The one thing is, if you don't get along with your parents, you can say to your kids, "Hey, I don't get along with my mom and dad," or, "we don't see eye to eye." Your children, they're going to say, "Well, I still want to meet them." Because why? Because children are always curious about their grandparents and where their parents came from, and they want to hear stories about your childhood and who you spent time with and who raised you and who you look more like. Who do you resemble? When you laugh a certain way, do you laugh like your mom or your dad? Whose eyes do you have? And then your children say, "Do I look more like your mom or dad? Who do I have red hair? Where did it come from?" So I can see why people would be angry, but it's unnecessary. And then when you've lived in those lies for 10, 15, 20 years. How do you undo that damage? And tell your children, by the way, FYI, you have a family out there, and my mom's actually alive, and I'd like for you to meet her. How do you go back? How do you allow your pride to come down? How do you admit wrong? I can imagine that's why people are angry. So, anyways, that's all I wanted to talk about. Just, is it too late? I don't know. That depends on the opposite person, how they're going to react, and if they would even open the door if you showed up. So just think about it. I don't know what else to tell you, but that's all I've got, and I will be back.